Namaste. This is episode 64 of Jack Howley's Black Book. So this is the 9th part of the India slideshow, and this should be the final part. I'm pretty sure it's going to be the final part. So we left off in an area of New Delhi where we had rented this, we rented a room in this beautiful kind of this palace type thing, and with these 11, 12-foot ceilings in our room. And so I've got some more pictures of that. And we were able to take the subway to Old Delhi and specifically Chandi Chowk, which is the main market area in Old Delhi. And so here's a picture of one of the streets. Now it's just busy. Sometimes they were much more crowded than this even. So this, at least, you can see some of the ground, at least in this area. But just very busy. There's lots happening. For the most part, I didn't see a lot of tourists. I'm guessing most of these, I know most of the individuals here were local people who were doing their shopping. And here is the shoes of our guide. So we did hire somebody to kind of walk us around and show us things. And because Mercy is a little shorter than everybody else, she couldn't see over. And so I kept saying to her, look for the guy with the orange shoes and the red bag, because he had generously wanted to carry the bag for Mercy. And I had a couple bags, but he wanted to carry her bag. So there's the red bag with the clothes that we had purchased. So, we kept saying, well, where'd the guy with the orange shoes and the red bag go? So here is the subway, and this is just another perspective. I know I showed a video earlier, but this shows you how long these trains were. So here's one pulling into the subway station where we're going to get on, and you'll hear at the end of the video a police officer told me to stop recording. So apparently I wasn't supposed to be doing that. Oh, I'm sorry. But one thing is that when you make a mistake, usually people are very graceful, and if you apologize, they know sorry. They can tell by reading your face that were doing something that you weren't aware that you were doing. So this is the view right down. If you look straight down, this is looking all the way back into the train. And it was interesting when you went around curves, you could see all of those poles kind of shift position. So it doesn't look like I have a good picture of that, but it was just the perspective was really interesting. So here's Mercy. She is leading the way, and we're going to head up this not so busy street. So our hotel was on a not so busy street. You can still hear the horns honking though, and there's a lot of the pedicabs available to rent. There's a tuk-tuk, and we're heading back to our hotel. I like this video because this kind of illustrates. Now, if you can picture some of those really busy roads, and then picture, going through a dark alley and then showing up at these peaceful little places. So this is a little bit different perspective because this is in New Delhi, so it's a little more of a modern area. But you get kind of the same idea. You walk down these busy streets, and here we are at the Maiden's Hotel, 1903. And you walk through the gates, and this is where Mercy and my room were. And so I've got some pictures of the grounds, manicured bushes. I mean, just very, very beautiful area that had a garden out front that you'll see a picture of. You can hear the traffic a little bit, but not too much. And here's a picture of one of the rooms up on the second or third story. I forget. I think second story. Here's the garden out front. It was a nice day. You could actually see the sun. A little bit of smog, not too bad. There's Mercy posing right there in the middle. You can hardly see her, but she is there with our red shopping bag. And here's the front door. Pretty much every place that we went like this will have some sort of a metal detector or some way just to kind of check the security, which was really interesting to me because I felt so safe in India. I really didn't see anything. And maybe, I don't know if this is the reason why, who's to say, kind of the chicken or the egg argument. I don't know what causes what. But here's Mercy going into the lobby of the Hotel Maidens. And then we did get room service one night, so there's some vegetable with noodles. You can see up at the top there we've got some pesto, so we ordered some Italian, and then there is some chicken in the middle there that is cooked in a tandoori oven, and then it had like a blue cheese sauce on it. So we got a little bit of healthy food with the vegetables and the noodles. We hadn't eaten a lot of vegetables, in fact, hardly any at all, other than potatoes, which were used in a lot of the pastries. So this was nice to be at this hotel, and because we were going home the following day, I think we felt a little safer to kind of eat some vegetables, feel a little bit better with a more, I guess, a diet that we were used to. So here's Mercy in the room. They actually wheeled our dinner in the room on this cart, and they served us. And I forget, but I'm thinking this entire meal I think cost right around maybe 30 US dollars. So very food is very inexpensive over there. Particularly when you purchase it from a street vendor. I would get a large hot pastry filled with like this curry potatoes and peas. And I think that was, I think, probably under an American dollar. It was maybe 75 or 100 rupees. This is the restaurant where we ate at each night at the Hotel Maidens. And Mercy noticed that middle panel looked a little bit like Ganesh, the elephant. And so we took a picture of it because it does kind of look like an abstract picture of an elephant. So I'm not sure if that was intentional or not. Those look a little more like African influence to me, but I'm not sure. There's a close-up of the art, and that was the table we would sit at. So I think I have a picture of Mercy and I at our table. Fresh flowers. There's a picture of Mercy and I underneath what we think was an abstract picture of Ganesha. And then going back to Chandna Chowk, so I think this is probably the next day when I remembered my camera batteries. And we went into this park, and this right here is let's kind of like it's the equivalent of Planet Fitness, right? It's an exercise area in this park, and people were using the exercise equipment and just kind of doing their thing. You can see on the left there's a person on, it's kind of a rowing machine. So it's like these walkers that I see at Planet Fitness. So they had all of these. They had like a merry-go-round, things to exercise I think it's your, whatever these muscles are up here. But yeah, people were getting exercise. They were relaxing in this park. It was just a really nice area, a little area to escape from the busyness of Chandni Chowk. See a few vendors in there. Then again, just more temples. So I'm just going to kind of go through these pictures quickly. But this could be the Hindu Trinity. Yeah, I wish I could name all of. I wish I could recall these more quickly, but I'm learning them. So here is a shrine to Humanu, I believe, which is the aspect of God that calls us to adventure. So Humanu, I hope I'm saying that right, is kind of like the superhero, the rescuer aspect of God. He can do great feats. Again, more avatars of God. One of the next Jack Colley Black books is going to talk about the importance of single deity, the importance of looking at all of these symbols and just kind of following the rabbit trail in all of the major religions, where you end up having to really accept that there must be one God, which is really the story of Christianity, but it's also the story of Hinduism, that you follow all these avatars and you cannot help but conclude that there must be one God. And so we're going to take a look at that at one of the next upcoming Jack Colley's Black Book. I've got some ideas about that. I'm not sure who this Hindu avatar is, but he shows up in a little bit different form in a picture coming up, and he looks just like Freddie Mercury from Queen. This was just this cool little area in the shrine. They had some sort of an oven to the left, and they had some, a little sink with a teapot on it. It was just kind of an interesting, a little area where you could worship and say prayers. There's a little bit better picture of it. And that was back here. It's not very good photography, but there is an area where each avatar is related to a day of the week. And so I'm going through, this is Thursday, he's saying this is Thursday, up here is Friday. And so a different avatar for each. And then there's Saturday. And that one I was particularly drawn to because I wanted to know if that was the goddess Kali, which is also called, sometimes called the Black Madonna. So in the Catholic Church, we have the Madonna or Mary. And in Hindu, we have, I believe it's called the Black Madonna, which I think is Kali, but I'm not positive about that. Again, there's just such rich culture and so many details just to take in that it makes my mind swim. I'm excited to learn about this stuff, but I'm also, it also is quite overwhelming. So here is, here's an avatar that's holding a severed head. And you can see in one of its arms to the left is the bowl, which catches the blood offering. And then you'll notice that the severed head, I think, I just kind of chuckled because it reminded me of Freddie Mercury, lead singer of Queen. If you're not familiar with the name Freddie Mercury, you should be familiar with the name Freddie Mercury, but maybe you're not. Here's another Kali again. You've got the severed head. You have the black face with the red tongue coming out. All of this is indicative of Kali, of the goddess Kali. And if you do some research, you can find symbolism behind why her tongue is out, why her hair is the way it is, why her eyes are the way they are, why her skin is that color, why she has a certain number of hands, why she has a couple of bowls, all of the rich symbolism. And what's very interesting to me with goddesses and gods of destruction is usually there's a lotus flower involved. So if you have all of the arms going on and you've got severed heads in an arm and you've got a sword or a scythe in one and you've got a bowl of blood and you have all of these different symbols in each of these arms, and then you notice that one of the hands has a lotus in it. And the idea is that despite the massive destruction, there's a reason for that, and a lotus will be planted, a new life will emerge. And so there's that beautiful theme that also comes through traditional Christianity about new life and about being born again and about having to accept that there is destruction, accept that life is going to have pain and it's going to have discomfort, but then there's all of these elements of hope and new life, which I'm very familiar with in the Christian tradition, and it was very interesting to me to see a lot of the parallels of the Christian tradition in the Hindu tradition. Maybe minus the severed heads. I don't know. I'd have to look to see if there's any severed heads in the Bible. Who knows? Who knows? There might be. There's a lot of interesting stuff in the Bible. And here's my friend who kind of served as my tour guide through the temple. And Shadow just opened the door, so he's joining me right now. And here we are going out to the main road. Okay, you just go right out into the busyness. Here's somebody making some sort of sandwiches. I'm not sure what this is. It kind of reminded me of eggs, but I'm not sure how much they cook with eggs. So it's probably more of a potato type pancake, maybe with some curry, or is it saffron? Just found this interesting. Somebody going up on a ladder to fix something. This was cool. They had the counter down at the bottom where you could buy all the hot pastries and rolls, and then right on top, kind of on this like second story, was the guy making this stuff. Nuts. A lot of that in the front is like a puffed rice, and I can't think of the name of the cereal, but there, and it might pop into my head, but there was a cereal, and I still, oh, Sugar Smacks with the frog as the kind of the character, but Sugar Smacks, like that puffed rice. That's what this was. It's like these large pieces of either puffed rice or, I mean, it was something puffed, and you could purchase that. Kind of reminded me of popcorn. Here's McDonald's. You've got the McCrispy vegetable. Got a lot of coffee drinks. There were some sandwiches, if I remember correctly, with some curry flavoring in it. So there's the Maharaja Mac, which again they don't serve beef, so there were a lot of alternatives. I mean, there were some different recipes at this McDonald's, but we wanted to get some pictures of this. Yeah, so let me see here. Oh, there you go, McDonald's. And here we are back at our hotel. I'm going to finish up the pictures here. Yep, and here we are at the airport. I had just taken a picture so I could figure out where our flight was going to and from. Here's the duty-free area. I did take some pictures here. This was really interesting to me. I always take pictures of this because quite often in my classes that I teach, I talk quite a bit about smoking, against smoking, and I talk extensively about using alcohol responsibly. So this is interesting to me. Now this is not as graphic as some of the places, but I look at these large signs on these tobacco products. Smoking seriously harms you and others around you. Smoking kills. That one gets to the point. And then I noticed this too. This was interesting too. So here's a bunch of Lucky Strike cigarettes. Smoking kills. Smoking. Well, I already read that one. Where's the other? Oh, smoking clogs the arteries and causes heart attacks and strokes. Get help to stop smoking. Consult your doctor. Smoking when pregnant harms your baby. Smoking is highly addictive. Don't start. And in some places, they actually had pictures of people's faces who had like gum cancer and had to have part of their jaw removed. So smoking, the relationship with why we allow smoking still is just fascinating to me. I mean, it's not hard to figure out. It's because the tobacco industry has a ton of money and a ton of influence, but it is beyond me that we allow cigarettes to still be sold. And then and here's our plane. We flew on Swiss Airlines, which was a little bit smaller flight than I took to, for example, Thailand, which had these huge planes, and you had a lot of room. A little bit more cramped, but I'll tell you, the Swiss Airlines was really nice. They really took care of you. So here we are in Zurich. And then from here, we would, of course, go home and fly into Chicago. And then I would have a very harrowing drive from Chicago back to our home. And that was because of jet lag. So it was not a great decision, even though we were driving for the most part in daylight. We had just traveled, 20 to 25 hours and over many time zones. And it was probably not a good idea. Luckily we arrived safely, though. So if anybody has questions, just email me if you have my email, or if have my phone number and you want to text me, great. If you're watching this and you don't have my email or phone number, well, you can leave a comment and maybe I'll see it. It's not hard to find me online. Just look up Jack Colley and do a little digging, and you'll find my real name and be able to contact me. But incredible, incredible trip. It was not a vacation. I would not call it a vacation, but it was definitely. I would call it a pilgrimage. It was something that I've always felt that I needed to do. I may do it again. Mercy and I talk about it, but just had a huge impact on me spiritually. Not that I'm giving anything up or anything like that, but when I have these experiences, like when I went to Thailand and had more experiences with Buddhism, when I went here and had experiences with Hinduism, I start to see how the world is together, how the world has so much in common, how the world is really asking many of the same questions. And this type of thing, I should probably stop talking here and include this in more of a Jack Colley's Black Book episode. But there you go. There are the slides for India. All right. Namaste, my friend.